Alrighty, welcome back, guys. Welcome back. I've got a special video for you guys today. This one is gonna be an interesting one. I'm very keen to see the comment section for this video. Yeah, we're gonna be watching and reacting to a video by Jimmy Highroller titled "The Harsh Truth About the GOAT Debate." This, I don't even know how long this discussion's been going on for, right? Who's the GOAT? Who's the undisputed GOAT of basketball? LeBron James? Or is it Michael Jordan? I've uploaded a couple of videos that involved, MJ, LeBron. I've read both sides of the argument, of the debate. I've read the LeBron fans, tell me LeBron's the GOAT. I've had the Michael Jordan fans tell me that he's the GOAT of basketball. I'm new to the sport. I don't really have a say in this. I've only been watching for like 3.5 months. I'm just learning. I'm having fun. I'm neutral. But with this video, we're gonna be watching Jimmy Highroller's take on who the GOAT is. Now, with Jimmy Highroller, he uses a lot of. I thought my phone was ringing. He uses a lot of graphs, statistics, and all that. So if there's anything that I don't understand, I'm gonna pause, mention it, and then hopefully you guys can help me. I'm not gonna yap for any longer. Let's get to watching. This should be a good one. I hope you guys enjoy it. If you do, leave a like and hit the subscribe button. LeBron!
Oh my lord! It's never gonna end, is it? LeBron's reign over the NBA. I've just come to the conclusion that LeBron has hacked into the Matrix and has transcended aging. LeBron is in his 19th NBA season and is somehow still one of the best players on the planet. This isn't supposed to happen. 99% of NBA players peak in their mid to late 20s and then slowly regress as they age, eventually becoming a liability to their team and inevitably sailing off into the sunset, washed up and content with their achievements. But not LeBron. The man is fighting his age like he's got a grudge on time itself. And the more he piles up on these mind-bending feats, the more we must ask ourselves the question, and I really hate to do this, but is LeBron the greatest basketball player of all time? And if he isn't, what would he need to do to truly, once and for all, be the GOAT?
Let me know. What do you guys think? Chapter 1. We all start somewhere.
About 5 years ago, I uploaded my first basketball-related video onto this channel. The title of that video is LeBron the GOAT. You can still watch this video today, but since it's an absolute dog water of a production, I highly recommend you steer clear of it. To summarize the video, I gave 10 reasons why LeBron would retire as the GOAT. Fast forward 5 years and thousands of hours of watching games, collecting data, and gathering context in this sport that we love. I've since changed my ways and realized that Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time. But my original assessment from 5 years ago hasn't completely changed, because I never said LeBron was the GOAT at the time. I just gave 10 reasons why LeBron would retire as the GOAT. But ever since I dropped that video, I've pretty much avoided the GOAT conversation altogether. I've put a spin on the idea of the greatest players in certain aspects of the game. I've talked about the greatest scorers, I've ranked players using purely numbers, but I've never really broken down who the greatest player is, in my opinion, because I just feel like the topic is a bit redundant. And ESPN already gives you a daily update on the GOAT debate anyways, so no need for me to do it. But I think it's time we actually discuss this, because what LeBron is doing at this point in his career is just absurd.
I agree.
At the moment, there are pretty much 3 different camps on the whole GOAT debate. People who think Michael Jordan is the GOAT, people who think LeBron is the GOAT, and people who are wrong. I'm just joking, of course, but not really. I'd say about 75% of people fall into the MJ's the GOAT category, about 20% of people fall into the LeBron's the GOAT category, and about...
All right. How many of you are part of the 75%? And how many of you are part of the 20% And are there any of you who are part of the 5% that think that Michael Jordan and LeBron James aren't the GOAT and someone else is? Let me know in the comment. I'm very curious to find out.
About 5 GOAT category, about 20% of people fall into the LeBron's the GOAT category, and about 5% fall into the other category. Usually these other fans believe the GOAT is Wilt or Kobe or Kareem. There's not many of them, but boy, will they die on that hill. See, the thing here is that a lot of the fans in MJ's corner believe that he is and will forever be the GOAT. But realistically, is there anything LeBron can do to surpass him? I mean, there's gotta be some sort of objective metric we can use to distinguish the greatest player of all time. No opinions, no bias, just the facts. If LeBron somehow won 4 more championships and retired with 8 rings, he'd undoubtedly be the GOAT, right? So there are paths for him to become the greatest ever. But where does that threshold lie, and what would LeBron have to achieve to get there?
But I feel like, look, I feel, you know, there's also another question that, can't even English anymore. There's the other question, which is, even if he wins another championship, let's say he wins another championship, or he plays for another 2 to 3 years, instead of next season being his last season, would that be enough to convince, you know, the other fans that he's the GOAT? Would that be enough? Or are they, you know, dead set on you know, Michael Jordan being the undisputed GOAT of basketball? That's the question, right? Chapter 2. Basic stats, a casual fan's best friend. Alright, let's see it.
First, let's just take a look at the basic numbers. Between Michael and LeBron, LeBron has more career points, rebounds, assists, blocks, more triple doubles, higher field goal percentage, and a higher 3-point percentage. And Michael has more steals and a higher free throw percentage.
Alright, let's pause this for a bit. So points. We got LeBron James with 36,985 points, and we got MJ with 32,292. 10,000 rebounds, 6,000 rebounds. 10,000 assists, 5,600 assists. 2,100 steals, 2,500 steals. 1K, 800.
But this whole argument, the career totals argument, is only useful in demonstrating LeBron's longevity and sustained excellence.
That's right.
These numbers don't prove that LeBron's a better scorer, or rebounder, or defender, or shooter than Jordan. They just prove that LeBron's been good at these things for a very, very long time. These numbers also show just how versatile LeBron is, possibly his most valuable asset. So instead of looking at career totals, let's look at career averages. Michael averages more points and more steals, and LeBron averages more assists and more rebounds. And as much as it pains me to say this, this is usually where the argument for the GOAT ends for most people. Throw in a required comment about their finals records and you pretty much have a condensed version of most GOAT debates. But there is so much more to unpack here. So let's unpack it.
Let's do it. Chapter 3. Advanced stats, the channel's best friend. I love it.
How much I like advanced stats. They don't tell the full story, but if you know which ones to look for, you can discover some nuances in a player's game that you won't get by just watching them play. Player efficiency rating, win shares per 48, offensive box plus minus, defensive box plus minus, value over replacement, and true shooting percentage. These.
What is this one? What is the value one? Hold on.
Plus minus, value over replacement, and
what is so I know box plus minus. I've recently started to understand what that is, but what's this one right there? This is a new one for me.
True shooting percentage. These 6 advanced stats give us efficiency, production, value, impact, and pretty much everything in between. And in these 6 advanced statistics, Michael Jordan exceeds LeBron in 5 of them.
Holy
He's
shit.
more efficient overall. He contributes to more wins. He contributes to more points. He's better on defense, and he is generally more valuable on the court than LeBron is. The only advanced stat where LeBron tops Jordan is true shooting percentage. Now, in terms of who's a better basketball player, nearly every metric points to Michael Jordan. But really take a look at these numbers, and it's actually uncanny just how close LeBron is to MJ across the board. just a fraction behind Jordan in
I mean, it is true. It is true. I mean, Michael Jordan is ahead of LeBron James in most of these statistics. But when you look at LeBron, it's not a huge difference between the two of them. You know what I mean?
pretty much everything. But these the board, just a fraction behind Jordan in pretty much everything. But these numbers aren't even addressing who's greater, because that conversation would involve accolades and accomplishments and impact on the game. Take away the rings, the influence, the intangibles, the opinions, and it's virtually objectively true that Michael was a better basketball player than LeBron. But the GOAT debate isn't necessarily about who is the better player, it's about who is the greatest player. We've got some more unpacking to do.
Let's do it, man. Chapter 4. Anything you can do, I can do better. Michael Jordan, probably. Yeah. I mean...
Now, we cannot have a thorough GOAT debate without discussing the accomplishments of each player. Numbers are cool and they have their purpose, but numbers alone aren't indicative of greatness. They're just a vehicle to greatness. This is why, despite James...
By the way. Sorry about this pause. I read a funny comment somewhere that they were saying the 2020 NBA Finals didn't count. What do you guys think? Does it count? I think Caruso, when they won, when Oklahoma City won this year's championship, I can't remember what he said exactly word by word. But he says something about this year's championship counting, unlike when he won it with the Lakers. It was kind of funny.
Just a vehicle to greatness. This is why, despite James Harden spending half a decade piling up some of the greatest scoring numbers in NBA history, most people don't consider him greater than some players with far lesser offensive numbers. The numbers complement the accolades, not the other way around. This is also why I consider Wilt Chamberlain to have been a better basketball player than Bill Russell, but Bill Russell was greater than Wilt. Wilt achieved his greatness through his numbers, whereas Russell achieved his greatness by contributing to an unrelenting style of winning basketball. So let's take a look at the accomplishments of both Michael Jordan and LeBron James.
Let's see it.
There are plenty of other awards a player can earn in the NBA, but these are the ones that really stand out on a player's resume. Championships, Finals MVPs, regular season MVPs, Defensive Player of the Year, All NBA selections, and all defensive team selections. And amongst these 6 categories, Jordan beats LeBron in 5 of them. And Michael accomplished all of this in just 15 seasons to LeBron's full 18 seasons. The only category...
All right, so we got Michael Jordan, 6 championships versus LeBron's 4. 6 MVPs, 4. 5, 4, 1, 0. 11 all NBA, 17, and then all defense, 9, 6.
Where LeBron outperformed Michael is in all NBA selections. And most will argue that, again, this is an accomplishment of longevity more than anything else, which at this point seems to be the overall theme in the GOAT debate. Up to this point in his career, the majority of fans will agree that LeBron has been a step below Jordan in terms of greatness. So now the race to become the GOAT has become a marathon, because eventually the sheer volume of LeBron's career numbers and achievements may become so overwhelming that we'll have no choice but to concede that he is in fact the greatest player of all time. Which brings us to a real dilemma in this age-old debate.
So you're saying there's a chance?
The flame that burns twice as bright burns half as long. A great quote by the ancient Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu regarding the idea of excellence and the sustainability of it. Almost as if you can have longevity or be exceptional, but you can't have both. Now, in the world of basketball and sports in general, usually being exceptional translates to longevity and vice versa. Michael Jordan was excellent for 13 seasons in the NBA. His flame was violently bright and had burned for quite some time. But what if there was a flame that burned about 95% as bright and lasted much, much longer? At a certain point, the radiance of even the brightest flame is outclassed by the flame that just won't quit. Of course, LeBron isn't a flame. He's a 6'9", 250-pound freak of nature in basketball shoes, but
That's
his
right.
light shines about 95% as bright as Michael Jordan's did, and it's lasting a whole lot longer. When does the longevity of LeBron's brilliance simply outmatch the slightly greater but much shorter brilliance of Michael? Because as we've discussed, Mike trumps LeBron in pretty much every single metric other than longevity and overall production. So the real question here is, how much longer will LeBron have to be excellent before the majority agrees that he is greater than Michael was?
All right. Now that he's asked this question, some are saying this year is going to be his last. For those watching, if you've watched up to this part, right? How long do you guys think? Actually, no. Let me reword this question. Do you think this season will be his last season? Or do you think he has maybe three more seasons? What do you guys think? For me personally, I wouldn't be surprised or shocked if this upcoming season, he decides to, it'll be his last one, have his farewell tour. But at the same time, honestly, I feel like he could go on for at least 2 or 3 more years. That's how I feel. But at the same time, as well, even though I think he can go for 2 or 3 more years, he shouldn't tarnish his legacy. It's a bit of a gray area, but let me know what you guys think in the comments. How long do you think he could play for? Do you reckon this is it, last season, or do you see him play for at least 2 or 3 more, or however many more seasons you guys think?
The man is in his excellent before the majority agrees that he is greater than Michael was. The man is in his 19th NBA season, and he's leading the NBA in scoring. He's still a top 5 player in the league, and his bag is getting deeper and deeper with every season. Here's a chart of LeBron's total points, assists, and rebound averages throughout each season of his career. Each point on the graph represents the total average of points, assists, and rebounds for every season of his career. So, for example, this season LeBron is putting up 8, 6, and 30 a game, so his total for the season is 44. Now, in the NBA, anything above a total of 40 is exceptional. LeBron's total production has exceeded 40 in 17 different seasons. Now here's Michael's total average points, assists, and rebounds for every season of his career.
Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. My question is, what happened here? What happened here?
This is by far the greatest argument in favor of LeBron in the GOAT debate. The man has simply sustained excellence for longer than Mike did. And although the numbers are just a vehicle to greatness, there has got to be a point where the numbers are just too glaring to ignore. LeBron's numbers are getting to that point. But some fans will argue that there were other players that were still really good this late in their career.
True.
You mean like Kareem, or Kobe, or Karl Malone? They weren't even close. LeBron's already the only player to be a part of the 30K, 10K, 10K club. Aside from a freak injury, he'll undoubtedly break Kareem's scoring record. He'll probably play the most seasons in an NBA career.
Now he's approaching his 23rd season. I don't know. Has he taken over Kareem's points? I think he has, right? I can't remember.
Undoubtedly break Kareem's scoring record. He'll probably play the most seasons in an NBA career. He already has the record for most All-NBA selections, and he's still adding to what is probably the longest career highlight reel with moments like this. If LeBron is still doing this in a couple years, while still putting up All-NBA numbers, I really think it's going to be difficult to say that he's not the greatest player ever.
Never lost.
You know what? I'm just gonna say it. While LeBron's legacy is growing as he plays more seasons, Michael's legacy would have been slightly diminished if he played more seasons. Of course, this isn't a matter of fact, but all the evidence points towards this assumption. Michael Jordan retiring after playing just 13 NBA seasons in 1998 was the best thing he could have ever done for his legacy. The Bulls were not going to win another championship, and the backbone of the dynasty he had built had all but vanished by the beginning of the 1999 season. If he had played through that 3-year retirement gap from 1999 to 2001, he would have either stayed with the Bulls and put up huge numbers on a losing team, or signed with a different team and chased rings. Both options being far less illustrious than him going out on top with the team that drafted him. Michael's career was the perfect storm. He was drafted by a franchise that was ready and willing to build around him. He was on a roster that suited his skill sets extremely well, and he and the Bulls peaked right as the dominant teams from the 80s and early 90s like the Lakers, Celtics, and Pistons began to fade away. You could not have written a better career if you tried. On the other hand, despite his success, LeBron really got the short end of the deal many times throughout his career. He spent his first 7 seasons in the NBA playing for a team that could not have cared less about building a coherent team around him. He spent 4 straight finals going toe-to-toe with the most dominant dynasty in modern NBA history outside of Jordan's Bulls. While Michael was surrounded by players who were all willing to buy into their system, LeBron has spent many years carrying the load of bad rosters and seemingly incompetent teammates. Part of which is his own fault for trying to play GM and putting together piss-poor rosters. And I bring up these small nuances because the GOAT debate is very nuanced. As much as people want to act like the whole 6-0 in the finals is the end-all be-all to the discussion, it's just not. If rings were all that mattered, then Bill Russell would be the GOAT. Oh, but he played a long time ago, that doesn't count. Okay, well then Robert Horry is the GOAT because he has 7 rings to Jordan's 6. Well yeah, but Horry wasn't the best player on any of those championships. Okay, so is the argument about rings, or is it about being the best player on the court, or a mixture of both? Is a player's performance, despite how masterful it was, all in vain if his team loses? The line becomes less and less clear the deeper you dig. No single metric can be used to determine this debate. And the unpacking of every small minute detail is a necessary burden. But unfortunately, it's a burden that most fans won't bother to take on.
True. The not so undisputed GOAT. Okay.
At the moment, I personally believe Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time. I also think he's the best basketball player of all time. But, unlike some fans, I don't think the door has closed on LeBron. I think that if LeBron can continue to dominate the league for a few more seasons and continue to shatter our previous notions of what we thought was possible in a single NBA career, I think that he has a chance to retire as the greatest player of all time. But of course, only time will tell. And fortunately for LeBron, time seems to perpetually be on his side.
All right. This was an incredible video. I really loved this video from beginning to end. Great production, great use of statistics, history. And, you know, I feel like Jimmy in this video covered a lot of different points and questions that would be asked by different fans. Especially, you know, arguments like, oh, well, okay, if LeBron did this, then, you know, how about Michael Jordan? Because he got one more... He's got more championships, or he's achieved this, or his stats are better than LeBron's in these areas, you know. And then also, you know, and I like how he also spoke about the percentage of fans that think neither of them are really the GOATs, and it could be someone like Kobe, Wilt, or Hakeem, or I don't think he mentioned Hakeem, but I'm just thinking different names, you know. It's tough, man. So this was uploaded 3 years ago, right? His 19th season. He's now about to play his 23rd season. I think his 23rd season now, right? Yeah. So from this video, from the time this video released or was uploaded till now, what do you guys think? What do you guys think? For those who've watched who are watching my video, if you've gotten to this point, I mean, there's not really much I can ask you besides, what do you guys think between 3 years ago until now? What do you think? Has LeBron done enough to be considered the GOAT of basketball? If he were to retire after this next season, would he be considered the GOAT? If not, what does he need to do to be considered the GOAT? I'm just learning about the sport. Man, it's a very tough argument, man. It can go both ways. Like Jimmy has said multiple times in this video, it can go both ways. You look at the stats, you look at this. I mean, Michael Jordan is the GOAT. But you can't deny that LeBron, you can't just ignore LeBron when it comes to the GOAT debate. It's I don't know, man. It's a tricky one. It's a tricky one. So yeah, I'm very excited to read your comments, your thoughts, your opinions on this. This is one of the reasons why I love making these videos. It's because I get to hear your stories, your experience, and your thoughts. But yeah, look, I hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed watching and reacting to it. Once again, a shout out to Jimmy High Roller. I'm gonna leave the link to this bio, to the bio of this video. So be sure to go and check out this video yourselves. Show some love as well, man. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have, don't forget to leave a like, hit that subscribe button, and let me know in the comments who do you guys want to see for a future video, or what do you guys want to see for a future video. I have a lot of content to get through. Don't you worry, and I'm gonna keep adding to the list. Until the next one, you guys take care, stay safe, keep on grinding, and never give up. I'll see you guys in the next one. Much love all. Bye. And I'll see you guys soon.